Welcome back to West Texas View.
Welcome back to the West Texas View. This is our final segment about the Air Force, and it's a real pleasure to have had Jeremy Newsome with us. He's such a delightful young man and so proud of the fact that he is representing the Air Force and representing our country in his service, and that shines through. And Jeremy, I appreciate that. One of the questions I want you to talk about, we just before the break we were talking about the opportunities for women in the military and whether or not there were more women now coming into the Air Force than there used to be. And you said yes, that you had 3 or 4 women a day almost coming in to ask questions. And I know that in the ROTC program that we had on the other day, they said that it's not half and half yet, but it's about 75% and 25% now in the ROTC programs in college and high school. But I want you to talk a little bit about the officer program. If someone came to you in high school and said, I really want to go into the officer program, I want to be a pilot, and tell me what you would tell them.
Well, they have a couple opportunities that they can do. Number one, in order to be an officer in the Air Force, you have to have your bachelor's degree. So you can do it a couple ways. You can come into the Air Force, allow for us to pay for your education, get your bachelor's degree, and then later on cross over into our officer program. Or you can pay it on, go about it yourself, go to school, get your bachelor's degree, and then come into the Air Force. In order to be an officer in the Air Force, that's the number one determination. You have to have a bachelor's degree in order to be a competitive asset.
But you can also go to college under the ROTC program, and you get part of your education paid for.
Exactly, and that's another way to kind of get some military experience under your belt at the same time as going to school. Go through the ROTC program, and then you kind of get the best of both worlds.
Well, if you do that, do you have to go to basic training as long?
They go through what's called an officer training school, and they're gonna learn a lot of more management side of the Air Force than enlisted will. So their basic training is going to be focused on management.
Well, so do you think you'll ever go over into the officer training side?
Not me, no ma'am. I like being on the enlisted side. Even though I'll get my bachelor's degree in a couple months from now, I still want to stay on the enlisted side. That's where my heart is, and that's where I want to stay.
Well, where will you get your bachelor's degree from?
When I get it, it'll actually come from Air University, which is coming through the Air Force and our college education program.
Good.
So I'm excited.
Yes. So you're going to beat your wife after all.
Yes, ma'am.
Because she won't be out for a while.
It's always the competition.
And where is she going to school?
She's actually going here locally to Midland College, and then next semester she'll be going to University of Texas Permian Basin.
Great. Oh, wonderful. Well, you can't move until she gets hers finished. But one of the things that the Army people were telling me is that in the officer training program, your opportunities are completely different, and that's because what you just said, that most of those opportunities are through the management area, and yours are through many other kinds of career opportunities. But when you finish as an enlisted person, you would have the management skills to run your own company.
Yes, ma'am.
Or to run a crew of people.
Definitely. It actually brings me back to at my last duty station I was at, I had a sergeant that I worked with. He served in the Air Force for 20 years, got out, and now he has his own air conditioning company. And he's using all the training that he learned, all the leadership courses that he learned, and he got out there, and now he has his own company that he's running. And
knows how to teach his people that he's hiring. Oh, that's great. Well, one of the things that when you're at a place like Midland, Odessa, that does not have an air base right here, you'd have to go to Abilene if you wanted to shop in the BX or PX or whatever, or you'd have to go to El Paso or Lubbock or somewhere else. Is that a drawback in choosing your duty station?
To a certain extent it is. For me, I don't think it was, because it gives you the opportunity to kind of get out in the community. Once you've been in the Air Force for such amount of time, you kind of get focused on that little community that we have inside of the community. So this kind of gave me the opportunity to get back and get out into, you know, others that don't know a lot about the Air Force. Get out there and kind of expose other members to what we do in our lifestyles.
But and I want to pick up on something you said earlier in getting out into the public, is that you said it was a real treat to live in Midland, Odessa, because people come up and thank you when they see you in your uniform.
Yes, ma'am.
And what a neat feeling that is for you. But do you find that and you probably haven't been that many parts of America as a military person, but do you find from what you've heard that there are certain parts of the nation where you're respected more as a military person than in other parts, or is it pretty common that wherever you are there's going to be some really neat people that...
I really think wherever you are, people are going to appreciate what we do. So I haven't heard of any places where there's a little bit more appreciation than other locations. It seems like everywhere I go, whenever I'm in my uniform, I'm always getting stopped. Thank you. I really appreciate what you do.
That's a neat story. But in our final minutes, let's kind of review if we have parents or students out there that are even people that are in the workforce now that might think, you know, I really made a mistake by not choosing to go into the military, and I'd like to do it now. And you said the age limit is 28.
Yes, ma'am.
To enlist.
Yes, ma'am, and that's for the Air Force.
For the Air Force, you cannot enlist after you're age 28. But if you decided to make a career change at 22 or 23 or 24, even though you hadn't been to college, you could still do that. Okay, then the other thing that we need to review that we've already said in one of our programs or one of our segments is that they need to call you.
Yes, ma'am.
And explore possibilities on the phone. Then you'll set up an appointment. And at that time, you'll go through this whole list of 140 career opportunities and talk to them about what is required in each of those things.
Exactly.
And what are the benefits in each of those things.
And that's the most important thing, I think, is for people to just pick up the phone or go to the website. A lot of people, sometimes you don't feel comfortable talking to a recruiter and things like that.
And
go to airforce.com.
And the airforce.com is on the screen, so
Yes,
you'll be
ma'am.
able to access that.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
then you can get a lot of preliminary information before they call you and talk to you about it.
We also have online advisors that can talk to you at the same time. If you have a couple questions that you just want to ask them, they can get those questions answered for you.
It's been such a pleasure to have Jeremy here this last 2 weeks, and I thank him for taking the time to come. And I really, really encourage you to go see Jeremy, call him, go visit the website, and we'll be back next week with another program about the military. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for joining us for News West 9's West Texas View with Johnny Lou Avery. This has been a public affairs presentation of KWAB-TV and KWES-TV.